all things conversational.
I'm Greg,
I'm Steve.
and we're going to talk about something this week.
We're going to talk about something that I think we're going to find interesting. I don't know if anybody else is going to find it interesting, but we think it's interesting.
Yeah, so we're picking a topic that is not quite business. It's
No, but
business adjacent.
I think it's part of
Yeah,
business.
and it's not quite one of our like weird, fun
No.
mixed bag shows. It's a topic that your wife recommended.
Yeah, well, nobody's perfect.
And it's a topic that came up when we were chatting this morning here.
In our pre-brief.
Yeah. Our
Let's set the table. Greg's got to go to a wedding this weekend, and he's trying to get around the fact that he's the MC of the event. And I think
I'm not the MC. I'm just the officiant.
The officiant. Wait a minute. You're actually marrying these people?
Yeah.
Oh, so you're ordained?
Listen.
Oh,
hang
on. This whole thing has just gone sideways on us here because this is not what I thought this was.
I know. I didn't know that you thought that, but
okay.
We got on this topic because of that.
Yeah.
And we were talking about, are you nervous? You've got to talk in front of people. And I said that, talking in front of people like this is definitely a bit nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
To which you replied, what are you talking about? You do this
all the time.
All the time in front of a camera. And we went a little bit down the rabbit hole of how different it is to be sitting in a room like this, talking to you.
Yeah.
Or even when I do some videos for somebody or whatever, YouTube.
Yeah.
And how different that is versus talking to a live audience.
Yes.
And the topic of discussion today is public speaking.
Yeah.
And what our thoughts are on it, if we've ever done anything to make it better, and if you have any tips or tricks.
Oh, I got tips.
So the reason we think this is super beneficial is because whether you realize it or not, you're gonna have to public speak in some manner
at some point.
100%. In almost every single industry you're in.
Yeah. And public speaking could be 5 people or 500 people. And I don't think it really changes.
I think it does.
And that's the thing. So I do a lot of public speaking.
Yes.
Okay. So it's a little bit different. And I think that perspective changes over time.
Okay. So tell me, what were your thoughts going into your first sales meeting after, or I guess I shouldn't say after buying the brokerage, I should say as your first time as a manager. Did you run sales meetings when you were a manager?
Yeah, but my public speaking goes way before that. So, when listen, I got on the board of the Niagara Association in 2014, I think.
Okay.
And I just got on to be a director. Like I had no ambitions to run or to get involved in that part of the organization. And I was put in this position of rewriting bylaws and rules and stuff like that. And one of the things that we have to do as an association is when we change bylaw, we change rules, we have to go get it ratified at the association. So we go, we do all our work, it's like a 10-month project, lawyers, the whole 9 yards. And then it comes to our annual general meeting and we have to present this to the membership. And I'm like, okay, like, what do I got to do? How do I do this? And I got there and there's 300 realtors in this room.
And what's the biggest crowd you had spoken to prior to that?
A classroom.
Of kids?
No, like when I was in university.
Okay, yeah.
Right. I'd done staff meetings and staff calls and stuff like that, but I've never really had at the casino and stuff like that. But
and
it was never.
I would say it's also different running a staff meeting because you're familiar with them.
Yeah.
There's a sense of comfort.
And you're, in a lot of cases, they're superior. So you're supposed to be
the authority figure.
The authority figure. Not only the authority figure, but the content expert. Right? So you're supposed to be, now when you go.
And it's explicitly, I don't want to say implied, it's explicitly laid out, meaning this guy knows more than you.
Yes.
Okay, which I think is
it makes a big difference when you're doing public speaking. So I did it in the casinos a lot for a number of years, and I did actually, believe it or not, I did it in the bars and stuff when I was a bar manager. We would have a pre-shift and that stuff. But that day in the casino, or not in the casino, when I was doing the presentation, I stood up there And Brad Johnstone, kudos to him, who's the owner of Royal LePage, and one of the reasons I believe good at public speaking now is he just looked at me and said, "You know more than they do on this subject. This is your project. This is your baby. Get up
You
there and
know it
tell
in
them,
and out.
yeah, you know what your, you know, I guess area of
Mhm.
expertise is."
You
And
can field any question that may come up, which I think is
huge,
it's huge, but I think it's where a lot of the anxiety or nervousness kinda comes from.
100%.
It
Not knowing how to respond.
not knowing how to respond or, the other one is like a blunder.
Oh, I've blundered all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah, it didn't.
And
That never phased me.
I think a lot of people expect it to be a perfectly polished
Oh,
presentation with no hiccups, no
yeah, no
pauses,
challenges
no
along the
challenge.
way,
Yeah,
right?
and I think the reality is everybody, like, when you're speaking about a topic, yeah, you may have bullet points and talking points, but you might step on your words sometimes.
Oh yeah, 100%. I also think there's two different types of public speaking, right? I think there is a true you're gonna get up and you're gonna present a subject and it's not a Q and A. There's no opportunity. It's just you're getting up and speaking to people, right?
Presenting.
You're presenting.
Mhm.
Whereas a lot of what I do is I get up in front of people and I have to be able to answer the questions, answer the,
It's like a
so
discussion more.
it's more discussion, and that's a lot harder than just getting up and public speaking.
Yeah, and I think the topic can make it more
Yes.
difficult, meaning, um, if you're in a well, maybe it is the audience. Because what I was gonna say is if you're at one of your sales meetings and you're talking about a topic that may have some ambiguity, you might be more inclined to you might feel more comfortable leaning into that, saying,
Yeah.
"Well, we're not sure about this. This is still kind of being figured out. It's early stages," whatever the answer is.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're at a meeting like that and you're expected to be the topic expert and there is any sort of shred of it that can be ambiguous, you might think, "Oh my gosh, I hope that part doesn't come up."
Yeah, so I guess for me that when I look back on it and I think about when I did that role, I was just a director, and then the following year I became the president elect. And when I became the president elect, you're forced into a lot more public speaking. And you actually get media training on how to deal with the media, et cetera, because you're going to do interviews and all that stuff. And I still, to this day, do interviews for certain things.
It's pretty cool.
It is sometimes, and sometimes I had a newspaper article I was quoted in the other day. It's kind of cool, like it's just one of
Yeah.
those things. But that experience of having to get up and present a budget, which I really actually wasn't very good at the time. I didn't understand association budgeting and how we did things and flow throughs and HST implications and holding HST and membership fees carrying over. Like there was a million
You're
things.
learning a whole new
It was like
job.
a whole different language to go with it. And I had to get up in front of the group, and I can't remember which hotel we were at. We were at one of the hotel ballrooms. And as the as the incoming chair, you're the head of the finance committee, so you have to present the things. And we always have this. We have one member, and God bless him because he gets up and he challenges us on the decisions and asks for clarifications and stuff.
Mhm.
And I'll give him a shout out because I was taking the piss out of him last week at our AGM, and he was sitting right beside me. So I'm the guy now that's sitting in the chair and gets to have some fun with this because I think the AGMs are fun and like they're not as serious as
Don't
everybody
make them
makes
as
them out to
stuffy as they
be.
need to be, or any more
Yeah,
stuffy
like
than they need to
so
be.
he's sitting here, I'm sitting here, and his name's Frank Franz, and he works for Remax. Really, he's an older guy, but he keeps the chair and the chair elect on their feet, and I
Uh-huh,
like it because he did it to me.
uh-huh.
But he asked me a question of mine when I was the chair, and I'll never forget it because he asked this question, and I actually didn't. I knew the answer, but I didn't know the background behind the answer. It's like I knew what it was, but
Okay.
I didn't know how the board. I couldn't remember how the board had come to the
Mhm,
decision.
mhm.
So it was a little bit tense. Like he's asking me this question, and I'm like, "Oh God!" And he finally said to me, "Sit." I gave him the answer. He goes, "How do you know that?" And I've got 200 plus people in this room, and I looked him straight in I mean, as square in the face and said, "Because I'm wicked smart," as a tension breaker. And that was the moment that I knew that I could public speak because at that point I was like, I can do that. Like this is easy from here on out. Like
It's that game of tennis, ping pong.
Oh,
He
yeah.
he sent the ball to you, and you were like, "Listen, here's some spin."
Yeah, and he was like he looked at me like, "I got nothing," and he sat down. And now last week, he's there, and he's got and I've seen him, he's chopping it a bit, and I'm making him up. I'm like, "Frank, it's your turn. Go and do it go and do it to this
Put them through their
Oh,
paces.
yeah, like and he does it every year,
Yeah,
and
well,
bless him.
it's nice because he does what you said, which is keep everybody on their
Yeah,
toes. Means you gotta come in knowing your stuff.
yeah.
You can't be, coming in.
You can't go in lackadaisic
Yeah,
because
I'm trying to find a word. There's words that I wanted to use for
well,
that, but I can't use on air.
yeah,
Um,
it's internet. You can use
yeah,
anything you want.
because you don't wanna half-ass it.
No, you don't.
And, he's doing it fairly to everybody.
Oh, yeah.
And now that you're out of that position, you
Oh,
can
yeah, I
you can
look
sit
back.
back and
Yeah.
enjoy.
But so that was the moment for me when I really was like, because listen, in high school I was petrified of it.
Yeah,
I actually switched out of grade 11 history
because of that.
because I had to do a presentation. The first day, the teacher walks in and goes, "Hey, just so you know, 20% of your grade is based on this presentation. You're going to be
Mhm.
working on all year long." I put my hand up in the classroom, I'm like, "I'm out." And she's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "I'm not doing a presentation in front of
Yeah,
these people."
it's so
And
funny.
she's like, "You can't cheat." And I went straight down. I walked
Yeah,
out of
to
the class,
guidance
and
counselor or
guidance
whatever.
counselor said, "I got to get out of this class. I
That's
can't do
amazing.
it." So,
S
and now, like,
so do
it,
you think it was being on that board gave you the confidence
100%.
to then carry this forward to all of your sales meetings moving forward, right?
Yes, and yes, like so I will okay, so becoming what I would like to consider myself as an industry knowledge expert
Mhm.
on stuff, it makes it easier, right? I know what I'm talking about when I'm presenting stuff. Every once in a while, somebody will throw a curveball at me, and I'll be like,
Yeah,
shit, I don't know, like,
that's a good
right?
question.
Like, that's a good question.
Yeah.
You don't have all the answers. You have to be prepared.
Mhm.
But I used to piss my staff off all the time when I was the president because they would spend hours writing scripts for me.
Oh,
Hours.
no
Oh
way.
yeah, this is long before ChatGPT. My CEO would come in and she'd hand me a 6-page script. And I'd look at her and go, What the hell is
Give me the
that?"
bullet points.
I didn't even ask for that. I said, "What do you want me to talk about today?" And she says, "This," and I'm like, "Okay." And I would just get up and talk. I'm
Interesting.
not a guy. Don't give me a script. So my last, so you get, I think we used to do a president's gala, and the president would have like a 15-minute speech that they could give to the membership. Now, keep in mind, we've been drinking at this point, so this is a completely different event now. So the first year, she wrote my speech for me, and I stood up, and I'll never forget it. I'm standing in the podium, and uh, the CEO sitting down here, and I'm holding this script in my hand,
Mhm.
and she's like, "Don't you dare, don't!" And I can see
Chucked.
it on her face, and I threw it over my shoulder, like literally. I said, "I don't know what Carol thinks I'm going to do with this." Gone, and I just talked, and I could
Okay.
see her doing this, like she's got her head down.
Well, to
And
me, that's a different level of public speaking skill.
yeah, yes, and listen, I can tell stories, right? Like, and I think that's
Yeah,
where
but
it
I
comes
I
from.
think it's 2 things. It's one, having the ability to know the topic, know where you're trying to take this, like the destination.
Yeah.
You might meander,
Oh, all the time.
right?
Yeah.
That's one avenue of it. The second one is I guess having the confidence to say, "I know I can get there." Like,
Yeah.
I'm not I'm not gonna be at a loss for words. Like,
No.
those are 2 components which I think are what a lot of people's.
Yeah, confidence in the material, I think, is huge. I think you have to know what you're. Yeah, I not only you have to know what you're going to talk about, but you have to kind of, as you're speaking, be prepared for somebody's going to put their hand up. Somebody's going to say, "Hey,
Something.
I've got a question,"
Okay.
and you have to be able to think on your feet.
Yeah,
And
I
I think that's
think
a huge part of public speaking.
agreed. So to me, one of the biggest hurdles I had to overcome when entering this industry was that there are gonna be moments where you don't know the answer,
Oh yeah,
right? And I think that is, and I never had that hang up in any sort of public speaking I ever did. Not that I did a ton, um, but, like, you do speeches in school. I did speeches in Polish school, first place winner for a couple of years, but little things like that.
did you ever do any of those boiler, those talking presentation group
I did
things?
Toastmasters.
Toastmasters, that was the one I was trying to think of. Did you
So
like it?
I actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So to me, like I was saying, it was always the idea of, shoot, I don't know the answer. You're entering an industry that you've all of a sudden learned is not as rigid or defined in certain areas as you may have expected.
Yep.
It's not as black and white.
Yep.
And people's scenarios are so diverse that you encounter things that you go, well, shoot, I don't know.
Yeah.
And coming from an industry that I had spent years learning, and you were almost always expected to know the answer, that was a tricky one. So I ended up joining Toastmasters,
Yeah.
um, because my thoughts were, well, you've always heard that it's a public speaking sort of
Yeah.
thing, and I said, let's go check it out. It's going to do two things for me. One, I think I'm okay at public speaking. I
Yeah.
think it's going to show me where I'm weak. It's a good chance to kind of network. Let's go check it out. Let's go see what this is even about. And I loved it.
Yeah.
It was fun. Um, I would say I only ended up doing it for 8-ish months, maybe.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Is there a cost to doing Toastmasters?
there is a cost. I'm trying to remember. It's not anything
Not like
crazy.
to
Yeah,
stop people. And so, because I'm
it's
intrigued by
very
it.
organized.
I was gonna say, like, is it done like local chapters? Is
Very
it
much so. So
okay?
there are local chapters all over Niagara. So there's like a Welland one called Rose City something maybe.
Okay.
The one I was doing was out at the Kiwanis Center by Laura Secord.
Yep.
That's where they were doing their meeting out of. I don't remember what the chapter was
And how
called.
often did you meet?
It was once a week.
Oh, really? It was a commitment.
You know what? Maybe it was once every 2 weeks.
Either way, like I was
I'm
thinking monthly, like,
no,
you get
if
to
it was no less than once every 2 weeks.
really.
The problem was it was on Tuesday nights. It was for hour, 2 hours, something like that. The problem was that it ended up conflicting with uh like summer hockey.
Priorities.
Well, I had already sort of it's a friend who runs this hockey, and
Yeah.
it's just a group of us who play it, and expect like I'm not going to give that up.
No, I wouldn't either.
And so had full intention of coming back.
And you
I was
just
like,
never
listen,
went
guys,
back.
the summer is on Tuesdays. I can't make it out on Tuesdays, but I'll come back in the fall. And you
You,
don't,
you don't.
you don't. But it was really cool because it was super laid out in front of you. There was like different directions you go down
Right.
based on the skills you're trying to brush up on.
Okay.
And then there's like levels that you do.
So I guess is it just designed just to make you better at it? Is that what the goal is of Toastmasters?
It's designed to make you better at public speaking in a couple different ways. So it's designed to make you better at public speaking in a prepared way, meaning you've prepared
Yeah.
a speech of X amount of length covering these and these topics. And sometimes, depending on the speech, the skill you were trying to work on was uh, maybe how to prove a point or something.
Right.
And they're like, here are a handful of general tactics that you can use to structure your speech to have the most impactful speech.
Okay.
So, you put this in the intro, you have these types of bullet points.
Yeah.
This is how you structure those bullet points. Here's how you tie this in and how you end it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Kind of like an essay.
kind of like an essay.
Yeah.
They're trying to teach you what's the best way to deliver the message. And then every meeting, there was a component that was called like table topics.
Okay.
And the idea behind that was it was off the cuff.
Oh, interesting.
And it was, it ranged, I think, from 30 seconds to 2 minutes.
Okay.
And it was something as random as, hey, this week we have a box of stuff.
Yeah.
Whatever you pick out of the box.
You got to talk about.
That's it.
See, now that I probably would struggle with to this day.
It's a very difficult one.
Yeah, that's it's like the exercise when there used to be a sales exercise and they would hand you a pencil and tell you
Right.
you got a minute to sell me
this pencil.
sell me this
It's like the
pencil.
Wolf of Wall Street thing.
Right, like same principle, right? And I just that to me is not how I speak. I speak from experience.
Yeah,
Okay, so let's take a break because we'll come back to that.
Wake up to the world you've been missing.
Mr. Carter.
So we are in the middle of talking about public speaking,
Yep.
and we're on the topic of
Yeah,
Toastmasters.
yeah, yeah. Which is, I think this is intriguing because I've never done it.
Yeah.
So I've done a version of it, but in condensed like
Yeah, and so
training.
you were talking about how a previous sales training you've done is the whole, Wolf of Wall Street, sell me this
Yeah.
pencil. I think a lot of people have seen
Yep.
that scene.
It's
Leo
actually not
DiCaprio.
where I saw it though.
Really?
I've never seen Wolf of Wall Street. I saw it it's actually a training video from a guy in the 70s,
That makes
right?
sense.
And it was pulled into Wolf of Wall
Yeah.
Street, but I've never actually seen the Wolf of Wall Street part of it. So
Well,
I'm
what's
gonna
what was
have to go
funny
watch it
about
now.
this, because we were talking about how one of the exercises at Toastmasters is this table topics
Yep.
exercise where you're given a random topic. Sometimes you don't know about it until you've walked up there,
Yep.
and you're expected to talk about this for 30 seconds to 2-ish minutes. I don't remember the full
Yeah.
scope of it, but there's a couple things you find out very quickly. One of them is how long 30 seconds is,
Oh yeah.
because they don't tell you immediately.
What do you mean?
So if the target for the day was 30 seconds or a minute, call it a minute.
Yeah.
Let's just say it's a 1 minute for the day. Everybody has to do table topics that day.
Okay.
Okay. And so you'll go up, you'll get your topic. Let's say you grabbed a green coffee cup. You go up there and you talk about green coffee cups. You might meander. You might talk about how green coffee cups remind you of camping because this and that. And now,
Now
boom, 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 boom,
you've
boom.
snaked off of
Whatever
one of the
happens, and then at the end, you tie this back to green coffee cups. Or you might talk about how you're into pottery. Whatever ends up happening.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
But
You
this
got
is
me.
exactly what happens. You kind of start laughing because people meander in the weirdest ways.
Yeah.
But the idea is at some point you button it up. Okay? You button it up and you go, that's my table topics, or there is a formal way to end this.
Sure.
And so then the person running the meeting that day jots down your time.
Okay.
But and that at the end, they go over everybody's time.
Okay.
So it'll be like, hey,
So then there's not a clock going and you're like, you've
no.
got to, you got to kind of know.
There is, in the sense of, I'm trying to think of, there was a light system where dead ahead there would be a red light, yellow light, green light that would go off.
Yeah.
Um,
It's very much what they use in political debates.
yeah, and I'm trying to remember how exactly they used it. It would be something like, as long as somebody was there to use it
Yeah.
properly. If you were in yellow, you were within a certain range of the target, and once you hit green, you had hit the target.
Right.
The idea was to not go below it, I believe,
Okay.
or to not go too far above. So then at the end, they'd be like, hey, Greg, your table topics was 55 seconds. And you'd be like, oh, man, I thought I was up there for a minute and a half.
Yeah.
And you'd be up there, you'd go, Steve, you actually talked for a minute and 42 seconds. And you'd go, holy Hannah.
Yeah.
And so it was, one, making you aware of how to use your time, right?
Yep.
Because sometimes if you are at an event, you're given a window.
Yeah.
To say, hey, you got 8 minutes. Well, I haven't prepared anything.
Yep.
Go up there and talk.
Yeah.
It was also, I'm laughing because I just did it, to make you aware of ums and ahs.
Oh yeah.
And so one of the things that people are supposed to do is count your filler words.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Which is almost becoming in public speaking, that's still a problem. In this kind of stuff, our technology takes ums and ahs out, which I think is the funniest thing in the world.
It does in the clips, but I don't think it does for our raw episode.
It can if we wanted to. I just don't do it.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
I like it.
I like the natural flow of what it is.
But what it does is it'll make you aware of. Now I'm really
now
cognizant
you're gonna be
of it.
thinking of cognizant of that word, right?
It makes you really aware of how often you're doing it.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to get you to just pause.
Which I find so hard.
It is so much more difficult than you think. And
Yes.
sometimes the goal is to pause for emphasis and to do this
Yeah.
and to change your cadence.
Yes.
And so,
Do you know who was fantastic at that? Barack Obama.
really?
Oh, go back and watch some of his speeches. He's one of the best orators I've ever listened to.
I actually have heard people say that, but during his tenure, I was always young.
Yeah, you wouldn't have.
And so to me, it was not something you really paid attention to
Yeah.
or something you really cared about, right?
Yeah.
And it was one of those background things.
Yeah, and it's funny because you compare that to some of the other high profile people that speak, and they just, I mean, you can go back and look at president after president, for example, or prime minister after prime minister. Mark Carney's actually really good at it as well. And Stephen Harper used to be really good at it. They can actually control the room with their cadence, with their breaks, with their, they are
It's
really, really
very
good.
impressive, and when you see it done well, when you're sitting in the room, I think it carries a different weight, a different gravitas
Yeah.
when you're in the room.
Yeah.
When you're sitting there watching somebody
And
and
you've
they're
got
pausing.
200 people focused on
Yeah,
that
yeah,
person, and they're basically hanging on every word that you say.
and the person is pausing
Oh,
and saying
it's
and
brilliant.
emphasizing this, that, the other.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Bill Clinton in his prime was really good at it too. Like if you go back and look
I
at,
feel like a lot of those guys have to be.
yeah, I think you just become like, it's like anything that we do. The more you do
Well, I
something,
think that was the other crux of all of this at Toastmasters was start doing this more regularly
yeah,
in a bit more structured fashion because a lot of times folks we don't have very many opportunities to do stuff like this. And so they had
no,
told me that a lot of guys and gals who come out to this, there's oftentimes that they're preparing for a specific speech,
yeah, yeah,
the best man speech, the
the wedding speech, whatever it is.
exactly.
Yep, 100%.
And so, somebody gets a little nervous. They go, I'm going to go out here and start practicing and learning some of these skills and just talking to people I don't know a little more often, maybe
Yeah,
learning some of these techniques and tactics. So to me, I really enjoyed it. It was
yeah,
a fun evening thing to do once every however often it
sure.
was. I think I would like to go back one day because it was fun. And I think it did help.
Did you know people in the room?
I knew nobody.
That makes it even easier because you don't have that constant, in my mind anyway. Like if I went with you, the constant ribbing at me,
Yeah.
right? Like
So
that would make it a little bit more challenging because we would take the mickey out of each other
yeah,
for what we did.
but
And when you're working in
in
that environment, you wouldn't have that,
you
right?
don't have that, but to me it does two things. So if you have somebody you know in there, a buddy,
Yeah.
I have less reservations about doing the topic. I'm not as nervous.
Oh, really?
Now my energy becomes sillier,
Okay.
okay?
Yeah.
Whereas if you know nobody in the room, I'm speaking just for
Sure.
myself, I'm able to take on a more serious tone, a more
Okay.
serious stance.
So it's funny because one of the things that I actually, and I like, I'm like, you know me, I'll public speak anywhere. It doesn't bother me.
Mhm,
Yet I walk into, I had a meeting last week in Burlington at the Botanical Gardens,
mhm.
which if you haven't been, it was my first time there. That place is
I
beautiful.
don't think I
In
have.
Burlington, go. It is gorgeous. It's a great place to hold an event too. But I went there and they're going through this whole process of there's 120 broker records, and it was just broker records in the room. Some from Kitchener, the Kitchener Association, some from the Mississauga, some from Simcoe, and some from Hamilton. So at the beginning of the room, they always say, "Listen, we don't like to do these things in person because we never know where people are going to come from." And they say, "Well, this time we got a great turnout. There's 120 of us. That's a lot of people in that
There's a lot
room.
of people.
So 47% are from Kitchener, 28% are from Hamilton, 17% are from Mississauga, and 1% are from Simcoe. One person, me. So I'm like putting my hands up in the air. I'm like, okay." And
I'm the guy.
I'm the 1%. And I
Mhm.
was they literally called me 1% all day. But when we go through, yeah, that was my name. And this is in front of the Rico chair. Okay. Like,
Hey,
and the head
1%.
of, oh yeah, he called me 1% a couple times. But he, one of the people from Hamilton came up to me and said, "Listen, we're not sure anybody's going to get up and ask questions because," and she says, "I know you'll do it for me." I'm like, "Sure, no problem. Give me the questions. Whatever you want me to ask, I'll ask. I don't care." But then as I sat there, started to get a little bit nervous. I'm like, "Why am I nervous getting in front of these
Yes.
people talking about this?" So I got up in front of the mic, and I just said to John, I said, 1% here. I've got a couple questions for you. And that to me is one of the keys to public speaking is
Cut the tension.
cut the tension.
Yeah,
Because
disarm
so many people
everybody.
get up there and they're like,
Yeah.
and then I didn't move from the mic. And I actually got to the point where there's people behind me. I said, well, my job here is done. I've broken the road, broken the ice, and yada, yada, yada. So I sit down and all of a sudden the people start asking
The
questions
energy
and
changes.
the energy changes.
Yes.
So I sit down at the table and then there's a couple of people asking questions. And then he turns to me and he says, Steve, help me out here. Like he's at now it becomes a two-way thing, and I'm like, why am I getting centered out in this room? But
'Cause you're the
again,
1%.
because I'm the 1%,
Yeah.
and not only that, it's you know what, like when you get into subject matter that is very serious, people tend to go in with a serious mindset, serious attitude, and I think it's an easy way to have everybody just take a deep breath and go, it's okay to not be stressed out about this. Like there are times where you have to, treat it like it's, super formal, but nothing that I talk about is life and death.
It's interesting because you've got me thinking now, what are the biggest hangups that people have about public speaking, right?
Being
And
judged.
I think that's what it all comes down to.
Yeah.
I think that's what it all boils down to. Doesn't matter. We can give whatever reasoning.
Yeah.
It all comes down to that. I think you've
Yeah.
boiled it down and
And really, like I used to, so I don't know when you first started Toastmasters, when I first started public speaking, I could feel my face go red. I could feel the warmth
okay.
coming across
Yep.
it, and I could feel because I have no hair, hence why I wear hats all the time on the
On
podcast
TV.
on TV. I could feel the beads of sweat on my forehead when I
Okay.
first started doing it. And I was like, "This is awkward. I hate this. I hate that feeling." I would come down, my neck would be all red. That does not happen anymore. And I'm like, okay, so that part, once you get
The
past the
nerves.
nerves of it, I always, somebody always said to me once, like somebody said to me once that when you're up there for a reason. When you're public speaking, you're up there for a reason. And it could be as simple as nobody else wanted to do it. It could be as simple as you're the only one that knows how to do it.
Hmm.
Or it could be a combination of the fact that you've put all the work into it. You've got this, you're presenting this for a reason.
Yeah.
And I think when you break it out like that, and you start to think about, how I'm doing this and why I'm doing it, it starts to get a little bit easier.
110%. So part of the wedding for this weekend, when my friend had asked me,
Yeah.
he said, "Listen, we wanted a certain energy for the ceremony."
Right.
I've known him forever. He knows the way I go about things, which is I'm sort of you know, I crack little jokes
Yeah.
here or there, this and that. And I think one, they liked that. I've known them. They know I can do it.
Yeah.
And one of the things he leaned on was, "Listen, you've done your Toastmasters. Do you still do that?" And I was like, "No, I haven't done that in a while." But he's like, "Listen, we think you'd be great at it. We want you to be a part of it." But it just lends credence to what you're saying, which is you're there for a reason. Somebody felt that you'd be a good fit,
Yeah.
whether it's the way that you go about it or what you know about the subject matter.
Yeah.
You have something that somebody thinks is going to be worthwhile to everybody else.
Yep.
And so the feeling of anxiety that comes from the I don't want to be judged, you got to get over it
Yeah. And quick.
and quick.
Yeah.
And I think back to and I don't know if you guys did this back in the day when you were in elementary school, but speeches.
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys ever
Hated
do
them.
that?
Hated them.
I didn't mind them.
Okay.
I was decent at the delivery.
Okay.
I would leave writing it to the last minute,
Yeah.
as is kind of, you know,
It's elementary school.
that's the way it goes. But what I always remembered is you don't want to go first.
Oh, no.
As soon as somebody went, hey, I'll go second.
Oh, I would always want to be first.
You would want to go
Yeah.
first?
Yeah. Always. Get it over with.
You're
And then I could sit
crazy.
back and do this.
For me, it was that tension had to be cut.
Oh, okay.
So because we talked about this, how you walked up, you made your comment about I'm the 1%. The tension was cut.
Yeah.
Everybody could all of a sudden come up.
Yeah.
There was there's a feeling of anticipation and tension that builds during these moments
Yeah.
prior to something happening. And I think that is where this comes from. It's that and you're going, shoot, I don't want to be judged. And if I'm first up there, I'm judged first.
Yeah. And yet I always looked at it completely the opposite. And I'd always say, I want to be first because I didn't want to be compared to everybody else. So if that person that before me was really, really good
Yep.
and I was crap, I was like,
Yeah.
I don't want to be the crap. I don't want to be the pile of crap behind the award-winning speaker.
I do
So
also
there's
remember
kind of
that
that, balance of it.
if somebody good went up, you're like, oh my God, I
Yeah.
go next after whatever. Amanda, like,
Yeah.
hers was great.
Yeah. My speech sucks.
I have 2 cue cards here. She did 18.
Yeah, my speech is barely gonna meet the minimum
Yes,
time requirement.
exactly, and I'll have to talk very slowly.
Yeah, yeah, and
Uh,
you actually learn a little bit of cadence and how to do it in that situation when you haven't written a speech as long as it needs to be, and you're
yeah,
like, "I gotta make this longer."
yeah, and you also learn as you grow up that people are okay with it being a little shorter.
Brevity is not a bad
Not
thing.
a bad thing, right?
Yeah,
So in school, you were just ahead of the curve.
yeah.
Um,
And I didn't like them. Like, I didn't like them. But now we used to do an exercise. I don't know whether you did this. And this, I look back now and I think about some of the things that prepared me for what
mhm,
I used to have to do, or I still do to this day. Was we used to do this math thing where the teacher would pick somebody. Steve, it's your turn. And you go stand in the front corner beside somebody sitting in their desk, and it'd be cue cards. And math cue cards, and they would hold
oh,
it up, and you'd have to answer. And whoever answered the fastest and got it right would move to the next desk and move to the next desk. And it was kind of this thing. I got
oh,
so good at it that they would stop asking me because I know my multiplication tables up to 20 in my head.
really up to
I
20?
used to know. I probably
Yeah,
would have to
sure.
go, but when I was in elementary school, my dad drove me with him.
That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
up to 20. So I would go around I would beat everybody, and the teacher would be like, okay, sit down. And they would stop. They got to the point where
Sure.
they'd stop calling on me. But that kind of pressure, because I knew this, I knew I was gonna be good. It didn't bother me standing up in front of the whole class and doing that. But now get up in front of this and talk about baseball or whatever your subject matter happened to be for your
Well, it's
speech.
interesting that you say that because it almost the task pulls your focus,
Yeah,
right? Which I think is why some people don't like if you're playing think about somebody who plays sports
yeah,
and you're playing at a higher level, even some of these junior hockey players, you play at whatever, junior A Falcons, whatever. You're playing at in an arena in front of a bunch of people.
sure.
But I think a lot of times you might not feel the same pressure
Yeah,
because you're one, you're with a group of people,
yeah,
and two, you're focused on the task. Like when you're in the middle of a game, you're not even you see
yeah,
nothing around you.
yeah.
So it's
It's it's kind of like the difference between playing a team sport and playing a game like golf,
sure
where you're the
tennis.
focus
It's
and
all
it's
on you.
all on you. Every
Yeah,
mistake is amplified. Everything is, you stumble on a word, it's amplified. Whereas you're sitting on a panel, and I do panels,
all the
all the
time.
time. You sit on this panel, and if you screw up or somebody will call you and say, "Hey, you know what? I don't necessarily agree." And you can have a conversation about it.
Hmm.
I find conversational stuff up front easier. Like to me, it's when you're up at the front of the room and somebody's got a
It's
subject,
more
and it's
natural,
just way
and
more
that's
natural.
when you were saying we don't cut the ums, ahs, uhs
Yeah,
out of our stuff here. I, I like it.
yeah,
It's natural. It's not. It's as polished as we are, and
yeah,
I think that's the other reason why speaking in front of a room is trickier than what we're doing here and what we do in front of a camera because I stumble on a word. Ah, shoot! I can stop,
yeah,
erase, redo. Nobody will ever know.
yeah. Now, keep in mind when I said that about you this weekend, I literally went in thinking you were emceeing, not actually officiating the thing. So you're going to have
Different energy.
a completely
Yes.
different energy, completely different. It's something you've probably, I don't think you've ever done
No,
before.
but this is why also I was saying in there, it's not necessarily the in front of people thing. It's the subject matter that makes me
Yeah.
nervous because it's a little more raw,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And you're going to have to, like, I mean, you've known this person for so long.
Yes.
You're going to have to keep, pardon my language, you're going to have to keep your shit together standing up
Exactly.
there. You can't be the guy crying at the front
No.
starting this because you've got to carry this whole thing
Yes,
for the half
110%.
hour or whatever it's going to
Yeah,
be.
the
How
20
long is it going to
minutes,
be?
20-minute-ish minutes we're
Okay.
aiming for.
Okay. That's good.
Um, but that's the subject matter, right?
Yeah.
It's however many people there are, I don't even know, 100
Yeah.
something, whatever.
How many people do you think you're going to know there?
It's a good question. Probably 20 or 30.
So you'll be comfortable enough that you'll
Yeah,
have, yeah,
and the ones that I know, majority of them I've known
yeah, a long,
same
long
duration,
time.
right? Since
Right.
about 5th grade.
So it's a completely different thing. So I've emceed weddings before, and I've actually emceed I've emceed a guy's wedding twice, the same guy.
Uh-huh, I think
Both
I remember you telling me
both
this.
married to Melissa. Both his wives were Melissa, so we had nicknamed them M1 and M2.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I wanted to
Everybody's
get
always after the M3, right?
right. I wanted to get up and make this a kind of a comp, and I got I want to be funny with it,
Mhm.
and I got shut down by the second Melissa. Like, do not,
Do not bring this up.
do not bring this up. And I'm
Yeah.
like, it's gonna
I
come
want
out. I'm
to.
gonna like how to, but getting up in front of that. because you're kind of it's a different role again. You're controlling the rest of the conversations, right? Like when you're emceeing a wedding, you're like, okay, now we're going to bring up this person, we're going to bring up this person, we're going to bring up, and you become like the, you know, host of an event,
Mhm.
and you've got to get these people up to do what you've been doing.
It's
It's a whole
it's a
different,
very different energy. You're
right?
like a ringmaster when you're an
You
MC.
really are. That's
You're
a
like,
great way
welcome
of
to the
putting it.
circus. Here's our next
Yeah,
thing."
yeah. Okay, let's take a break then.
Sure.
Wake up to the world you've been missing. Time to jump out of bed in the morning. No day, no life, now we're living. Can you feel it in
Welcome
the
back.
air?
Howdy.
Part three.
Part 3.
Part three.
So, how do you think people can go about building this skill, working through some of these fears, and getting themselves in a better mindset and just in a position where they can start doing this? Because again, we tie this all back to this all comes down to business and business
Yeah,
growth.
yeah,
And it comes down to these conversations and being comfortable having them. And, I think about us. And one thing that gets done often is these like first time home buyer seminars or whatever kind of seminar, whatever you're
yeah,
doing,
yeah,
or you're on social media, or you're meeting new people you want to work with. It all comes down to, can you carry a conversation with this person? Can you get your point across? Can you get over that social anxiety? How do
yeah.
you think somebody can start getting past this?
So, like, I think some of it is what you and I went through when we first started this, as an example. I think sometimes you've just got to do it because the
Hey,
more you
Nike.
think about it, the less, um, the less you're going to want to do it. It's like like think about working out.
Hmm.
Well, they say the hardest part is
Putting your shoes
putting
on or
your
whatever.
shoes on or whatever that first
Hmm.
step is, right? You've got to take baby steps. You're not going to get up and do, what some of us do is and get up in front of 300 people and talk and be comfortable doing it.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. So start with small groups, right? Start with a group of 5 or 6 people and talk to them. Because if you're going to talk to a group of 5 or 6, in theory, the everything that you do is scalable, right? And as you move up and you start to do it into bigger groups, you'll find that you become more comfortable with it. To me, the comfort of your own voice and being able to hear what you're going to ask and those kind of things is huge. So, like when we first started this, one of the things that we talked about, we joked about all the time, is hearing your own voice,
Hmm.
right? When you right, when you get
You
up
got
and
a good
public
one. You got a
speak,
radio voice.
somebody, yeah, I got a face for radio too. Um, Somebody said to me once, like you're gonna get up in front of these people, and when you get up there, don't look at them. Right? You have to look past them. You have to look at them like they're coming there to listen to you. They want to get the information that you've got. They're there for a reason. You're the subject matter expert. So the more you do it and you just get out and do it and talk to people about things that you know about,
Yeah.
you're going to get more comfortable. I do like the Toastmaster where it puts you on the spot because I think that's really helpful for when you get asked questions.
Hmm.
And you have to define what kind of speaker you want to be. And I think that's a big thing that a lot of people don't do. I'm not going to get up there and read a script ever, 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 ever.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point.
I'll have talking points. I'm conversational. I write like I'm conversational. I present like I'm conversational. I also try to engage the audience, and you have to decide, how you're going to do it. I've done seminars for 100 senior citizens who are, downsizing.
Hmm.
Easy conversation to have. Go and have a conversation with seniors who are going to move into the last phase of their life. Completely different room, right? Because now all of a sudden they're moving into seniors' homes and their life's about to change in ways that they may not be ready for. You have to kind of adjust, but you have to do it, and you've got to get out in front of it because hiding behind it and not having the confidence to go out and do it is going to hurt you long term in business.
Yeah. I think it's
I
it's
don't
a
know if I
couple of
answered the
things.
question with that, but
What's that?
I don't know if I answered the question with that,
No,
but
I think you answered it really well. But to me, it boils down to know the stuff that you're wanting to talk about
huge.
decently well.
Yeah.
but also know that things come up, people ask questions that might throw you for a loop. It's okay to not know,
100%.
and I'm just gonna leave it at that. It's okay to not know, but let them know that you're gonna come
Yeah.
back to them.
Yeah.
Listen, that's a good question. I actually haven't heard that before.
Yep.
They might love hearing that they had a good question,
Yeah.
right?
I
You're
think you should
pumping their tires up a bit.
when you're doing a Q&A, I think you should always acknowledge the question, right? I don't think you should just go into it and go straight into your answer. Thank you, whatever the case may
Yeah,
be.
yeah.
You want to have that,
But I think about
engagement with
even
them.
conversationally, if you're talking to somebody, you're meeting a new person you want to do business with, and they're talking shop, and all of a sudden they go, "Well, how would you have handled this?" And you go, "Huh, that's actually a good question.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I don't know how. Blah 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 blah." And so what I'm getting at is this scenario is going to happen. There's going to
Yep.
be moments where you don't know
Yep.
exactly how to answer this to the best of your ability,
Yep. And
but
it's okay.
it's okay.
Yeah.
And I think the other one that you really brought up is figure out what type of person you are in terms of speaker.
Yeah.
It might give you a lot of relief to write this out word for word,
Yep.
right? For two reasons. One, you have taken the thought out of what you're going to say. You've said it once.
Yeah.
You got a pretty good framework of how you want this to flow.
Yep.
And two, you have the option then to read this if you're very happy with it.
Yep.
Right? There's that type of speaker. There's the person who wants to bullet point it out.
Yep.
And there's the person who fires from the hip.
Yeah.
And you might think you're one of those camps. You might be different one at different times.
Yeah.
Right? There are moments where we pick a topic and it makes me laugh because we're both similar on this, where we go, "Hey, what's the topic today? I don't know. What if we did this?" And sometimes it's just a phrase or it's a word
Yeah.
or it's something. And we go, "Well, let's just figure this out as we go."
Yeah.
We're kind of digging this out, brushing the dust off,
Yeah.
uncovering this artifact as we're discovering it.
Yeah.
And there are other times where we go, "Hey, we want to be intentional. We want to make sure we don't want to miss this, or
Yeah.
this on this segment." And we'll put a little bit more of a framework to it.
Yep.
Right? So even though we have the ability for us to just sit here and blow hot air for 45 minutes to an hour about nothing,
Yeah.
there are times that we want it to be about something.
Yeah. And you go back and look at our little sessions on first time home buyers.
Yeah.
We were very
We
kind
tried
of
to be very intentional.
structured and intentional with it. And you're not gonna and I think one of the things is it's not gonna be the same all the time. Right? Like
Yeah.
there are going to be times where you're going to like I'm a ham. I'm that guy that wants to bring levity to the
I agree.
situation. There's going to be times where that is not called for, and you're going to have a
Know your
serious
audience.
conversation. I think the subject matter and audience both drive that. Like I'm not going to walk into like when I sat on the task force for Tressa a few years ago, I was the most inexperienced broker of record on the committee. It didn't mean I didn't have a voice. It just meant that my voice was not going to be as loud as some of the other people in that group conversation. I think that's true when it comes to public speaking. If you're sitting up on a panel and you've got somebody there that's got 30 years experience, you've got two, you're not going to get up there and talk a certain way when you've got this, true expert beside you and you're the new kid on the block. I think that however you package yourself has to kind of fit the environment that you're in.
Yeah.
Right.
So what are some actionable steps if you had an agent come to you who said, "Listen, I am petrified. I don't know how I'm going to be able to do this open house that I signed up for."
Yep.
Because that is, in a way, a public speaking, right?
100%, yep.
You're meeting people, you're greeting people. It might be something that they thought they'd be more prepared for, but all of a sudden the time came, the deadline is looming.
Yeah.
And they go, "I'm
not
toast.
ready.
I'm
Yeah.
not ready. Like,
Yeah.
I'm freaking out over here."
I think when it comes down to it is, people who speak have got to get through their mindset that for the most part, you know more than the people that you're speaking to.
Okay.
So when they walk into an open house, for example, using your example,
Yeah.
you know more about real estate, unless it's a realtor that walks in the room and is messing with you, which you're not supposed to, but somebody who's not experienced walks in and says, like, "I want to know about this house." You're going to know more about the process, the contracts, the house,
Yeah.
everything. You're the expert. And I think what happens with a lot of people is they don't feel like they're the expert. And when you don't feel like you're the expert, it sucks you back into that lack of confidence. I think that you have to just understand that you're there for a reason. And that reason is to communicate to somebody you don't know what the value is of this house, what the story is of this house, and you have to figure out the way that you want to talk about it. Really, good people that are really, really good at open houses are typically different types of realtor than people that aren't.
It's like an event person.
Yeah, it's somebody that gets, no problem meeting strangers, greeting them at the door, making them feel welcome, doing all of those steps, and while at the same time selling the house and their skills to get them to work with them. Whereas somebody who doesn't have that confidence will come in and say, "Open up, take a look around, and let me know if you've got any questions." Right? Those are the two extremes. Somewhere in there, everybody will find their path, and I think that's the same with public speaking. You're going to figure out who you want to be, right?
Yeah, I think a good exercise is to also sit down and go, what is the worst case? Like, what are the outcomes that I am most terrified about?
Oh yeah, and realistically, what's the worst thing that can happen when you're public speaking?
Well, and you
You're
write those
wrong,
out.
right?
So worst case scenario one, I don't know the subject matter as well as I thought I
Yeah,
did. Okay, that happens. What's the solution or worst case outcome on that?
yeah.
And then outcome two. And I think sometimes if you write those things out, all of a sudden you look at it and you go, it's not that big of a deal.
What's
I
funny?
can handle that.
I saw something last night I was reading, and I actually sent it to the girls, and it was about anxiety.
Okay.
And one of the triggers for anxiety is public speaking and doing
Yeah.
these things. It can trigger
I
people
can see it 100%.
really, really
Yeah.
badly. One of the things that they said to help deal with anxiety is to grab a pen and paper and write down everything that you're thinking in that moment and getting it out of your head.
The brain
Because
dump.
it's a brain dump, and what it does is it forces your brain to think about something else than what you're already thinking about.
It's huge.
I think the same principle applies to public speaking. Get up and, write, when you've got that fear, write down what your fears are. Write it down. Don't even worry about what you're going to say. Write down what you're scared of. And then look around the room and go, do you think everybody else would feel the same way standing up here right now? Or do you think anybody else could do what you're about to do? And I think when you start to rephrase it to yourself as, I am the expert here. I know what I'm going to say. I know how I'm going to say it. It takes a lot of pressure off of yourself that you've really, for all intents and purposes, inflicted on yourself. Because when you're sitting there, 99 times out of 100, nobody's going to tell that you're dying inside about the thought of getting up there.
Yeah.
You're internalizing it, right? So grab a pen and paper, just brain dump, get rid of it, say, you know what, and then flip over that page and don't look at it again, because your name's going to get called and you're going to go up there and speak, right? So I think preparation is probably the biggest thing for
preparation
people.
is a good way to say it, and maybe even join a group.
I love
like
the idea of Toastmasters,
thing.
right? Like there's probably others. Toastmasters, I think, is
it's just the one I had heard of, and
it's the big one, right? It's the major leagues.
I think it's international.
Oh yeah. There's competitions that go
I remember
worldwide.
them talking about it.
Yep.
You can go to like regional and
like the chair of our association right now has won competitions through Toastmasters.
It kind of like, no word of a lie, I do see myself going back one day.
Yeah.
It'd be a fun project.
Sure.
Give you something to do.
No, I just so if you're gonna go out and you're gonna do public speaking, the other thing that I would recommend is practice.
That's, I think, the biggest key.
Right.
Yes, you have to get over these hangups.
Yeah.
But find a way to practice, which is what I was getting at with the Toastmasters thing.
Yeah. You don't have to do it in an organized fashion. You can get in front of a camera, like do what we're doing, and talk to the camera, set the camera up like it's an audience. You can get in front of a mirror and do it.
I think the camera one is fun because there's the sense of small implied pressure.
Yeah.
Like this is going to be posted.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Right? If you're wanting to practice your pitch as a realtor or whatever you're talking about, record it, post it to the YouTube channel.
Yeah. Post
it to your socials. We talked about this, how one way that we kind of got over it in our heads when we were starting to post some of this stuff was, well, nobody's listening anyways.
Yeah.
What does it matter?
Yeah. And now we're getting like 400 people watching some of these things, and it's it's kind of cool, right?
Yeah, it came up again the other day for me. You said it came up again the other day for somebody else brought it up for you. But you start doing it, and like for us now, we walk in here. We used to plan our topics
pretty diligently.
for the first couple sessions,
Yeah.
and then we saw how easy it was to do, and we thought we needed more structure, and then within episodes 10 to 15, probably in that range,
Yeah.
maybe,
Yeah. Probably.
which would be like within the first, probably somewhere around 4 months mark,
Yeah.
we were kind of like,
Yeah.
ain't no thing but a chicken wing. We got this,
Yeah, baby.
right?
And realistically, it does get easier. And
Yeah.
this is one of those things is don't be afraid to do it over and over and over again. Like you're gonna get up and do these seminars. It's okay to host these seminars, pick a different subject to host it and keep doing it. Just if nothing
For the
else,
sake of practice.
just for the sake of
Yeah, you're right.
practice, right? Like
That's a very good one.
you don't have it doesn't have to have an end game. Sometimes you're just teaching people. Sometimes you're just teaching yourself. Like like there's times where, you know, I had the ladies in here a couple weeks ago, maybe last week, I can't even remember, and we were doing these interview style posts for our Monday morning videos. For me, I was like, "Don't worry about this. You got this," right? Because now I was kind of coaching them to say, "Hey,
You were in your element. You
um,
sat down and you're like, this is another day.
yeah, this is easy because I
Yeah.
know what I'm going to talk about. I know I've already given you the questions. My part's done. You've got to think about it." And then for every single one of them, threw them a trick question, threw them one that wasn't on the paper. And I made
Love that.
them think on
On the
their
fly.
feet.
Yeah.
And it wasn't designed because I wanted to ask the question. It was, I'm trying to help them get better at doing what they're doing,
And
which
to
is
throw a little
things,
fun into it.
right?
Because sometimes, I would say most of the time, after you finish that, like after that table topics exercise, you finish it and you're all giddy. You're like, well, that was kind of cool. Your adrenaline's pumping. Your mind was running a mile a minute. And same thing the girls probably experienced. They were like, holy Hannah, well, that was cool. Don't do that again or
Yeah.
do it. But
Yeah. And you will see, because you see the videos, I send them out to you, the difference between the first one and the fourth one, and how much more comfortable they got speaking to a person.
yeah, that they speak to all the time.
That they speak well, just like all three of them
Mhm.
got better as they went on and did these.
Yeah.
They picked, and it was funny because they picked the order in which they gave me the categories, and this is the first one they want to talk about, second one, third, and fourth one, and they always put their strongest subject first,
Mhm.
and yet their best conversation
Was at the end.
was at the end because they in that hour or two that I had them in here, they were able to get comfortable. And it was about that comfort level of sitting across from me, talking real estate with me, and having those things on the cameras on over there, and that you could
So
literally see the progress.
here's a question. How do you think they would respond if I said, hey, let's come have a chat? No script.
I don't know whether they would do it. To be
I don't know if they
honest
would
with you.
either.
And I think that's just because, I mean, I'm close with
Yeah.
them, so I think that's a little easier. And truth be told, two of them said, "Can we start over?"
Oh, no way.
Yeah, and we got about 4 minutes in. They messed it up, and they said, "No, can we start over?" And I was like, 100%. And then I changed up all of my beginning script because I've got point form of what they want to say, and they're like, you can see it on their face. He's
They're
not
like,
saying
"This is
saying the
different."
same thing again.
Uh-huh.
But I got back to the same
Sure.
intro for them.
Point A and point B. How Steve gets from point A to point B might change.
Yeah, and once they heard the question, they were off and running with it again. And so it's that, like that was 4 sessions within 2 hours for those 3 ladies, and I would argue that all 4 of them are better just by doing those 4 sessions on subject matters that they picked, that they understood, and that they were forced to think on the fly with those bonus questions. So they actually developed skills within a 2-hour span, and they had no idea they even developed them, right? Because they're so used to it being polished and having our photographer do these videos, and they're talking to these videos, and they can do 20 takes, and this was not 20 take land, right? Like I said, you can always start over, but 2 of them only did it, and they only asked once, and then we got through it.
Pretty
so good. Like they were really, really good at it. But I brought them in, and I made them kind of go through the exercise, and I think that their videos and their work now will be even better because they've kind of covered some of that fear.
There's a mental break or a mental block that they didn't know they got over probably.
Yeah, and I bet you dollars to donuts if you ask them, they won't even recognize it. But when you're the person sitting on the other side in the audience, you notice it, right? So
makes sense.
Listen, I think that public speaking is something that everybody should do. Everybody should try, because at some point in your life, doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter what you do, you're going to at some point be called on to do something.
And at a minimum, it'll give you a little extra compassion for those who are up there.
Yeah, 100%.
Right?
So I think it's a good place to leave it. I think it's been an interesting conversation. Good luck officiating. Like that's going to be cool this weekend. I can't wait to hear
Thank you.
how it turns out. Don't worry about screwing it up because, it's only 100 people.
That's it.
All right. See you next week.
Bye.